Hi, this is Darrell White with Carte Blanche Media, and I have today as my guest Allie Henderson of Henderson Co. Pleasure to have you here. Like to go ahead and start by asking if you could just tell me a little bit more about yourself and your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Allie. I'm based out of Kelowna, BC, Canada. I've been doing this whole ad thing since 2017 in a lot of different ways. Worked on my own, worked for local service-based businesses, worked for some more high-profile people, worked in agencies, freelance, just kind of done a whole bunch of stuff. And now I really just focus on working with companies and brands that want to put, that kind of have a bit of a longer game, play a little bit more branding, emotional awareness, kind of compelling. Like we really focus on strategy first. And I know everybody says that. Having worked in multiple agencies, it's not true. So we actually really do put an emphasis on strategy first, and we test everything we do when it comes to creating new strategies. And then we implement them in really emotionally compelling ways. I think that big fault a lot of people have is that we're always sharing information and how to do things and how this, and we're a pretty well-informed world, and information doesn't really make a big difference for a lot of people. We all know how to be fit. We all know how to be manage our money well, yet most of us don't do those things. So we really try to play off emotions and find people for our customers who have like-minded values, and just really use more emotionally compelling hooks and angles.
Awesome. And so obviously you kind of went into it a little bit there already, but what kind of was the shift that kind of got you into building Henderson Co. there today?
Just having worked in a lot of agencies and seeing how they are doing it wrong. Like I think at my core, I'm always going to be an entrepreneur. Like I like working in agencies because I think there's such an incredible learning component. So I definitely am not saying they're bad or whatever, but there was always just such a big break between what they would sell and then what they'd expect us to do. It's like we were marketers, not magicians. And I feel like I say that to the sales team quite often. And it just wasn't fair. Like it wasn't fair watching people spend somewhat of their life savings because they have this belief that if you do Facebook ads, you put $1 in, you get $2 out, and they have this that's like the narrative. And it's such a lie. It's so true for certain people that have certain foundations in their businesses, who have certain incredible offers, who actually have incredible products. Like I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It sure shit happens, but not for the average person. And I just would see these agencies take these people in that didn't hear the background noise of what it takes to make that happen. They didn't know those fundamental pieces. They just thought that if they pay the agency 20 grand, they'll make their money back. And it's kind of heartbreaking to get on client calls with those people and be like, well, actually your offer, no one really wants it. It's not that special. What you're doing is actually available on YouTube. So it's hard to sell this, and I would just see that come through so many times. And it's not about that. I'm totally, certain things. I just would rather work with people that have those fundamentals, those understanding, have great offers, and then use the magic of Facebook, and then use the magic of marketing and hooks and ideas and all the things. Let's use it then. But I just there's so many people getting taken advantage of, and it's just not something I really truly want to be a part of.
Yeah, no, having some integrity definitely helps there. So that being said, what has been your biggest challenge since you started Henderson Co?
It would be more like a personal thing. I'm like, can I do this? Is this possible? It's one of those things, getting started is always the hardest part. I've been doing this for a bit, but having faith. And I think that at the end of the day, the counter to that, the win to that is just, again, like you said, always stay integral and just always be honest. I never sell clients on here's the ROI you're going to get. I have tons of cases of ROI. I have tons of cases of these things, but we don't sell on a here's what you'll make from us angle. We sell on here's how we connect you to more of the right people. Here's how we help you stand out in otherwise noisy marketplace. Here's how you can say something really quite boring, which we're all usually doing repetitive things. Most people are not creating new things. They're doing similar things, but we are going to help you communicate it in a way that's more exciting and more engaging with the viewer, because familiarity in marketing is boring. We've heard it, we get it. You're going to help us make money. You're going to help us lose weight. You're going to help us with our this and that redundancy falls upon deaf ears. So we have to help our clients learn how to say what they do, which is probably a redundant offer, but we have to help them say that in a way that's engaging, enticing, emotionally compelling, and wanting to leave people wanting to know more.
Now, let me ask you this. What has been your biggest success so far since getting started here?
So my like special sauce, I'd say, is like this thing that I got hooked on when I was learning a lot about marketing. And it's not my idea, but it's, I think, a forgotten upon marketing principle. And it's called the big idea. And it's coined by David Ogilvy. Like it's not mine. Todd Brown talks a ton about it, but it's like the best way to describe a big idea is basically in just like kind of an example. So like imagine you're in a bookstore and you're walking down an aisle and you see a book and it's titled like how to work less, how to outsource your work and work less. And you see that and you're like, that's cool. Like that's engaging, but again, it's a pretty factual world. We get it. Maybe pick it up, maybe don't. Then you walk a couple steps down the path and you look at another book and it's called The 4-Hour Work Week, how to get out of the 9 to 5 and join the new rich. Now, if you've read The 4-Hour Work Week, you know that book's about outsourcing. But had Tim Ferriss called that How to Outsource, we might actually not know who Tim Ferriss is today. And that's our secret sauce. That's where we really prosper. So we help you take mundane communication, how this, and like create enticing, emotionally compelling hooks and angles and ideas so that your offer has a shot in an otherwise noisy marketplace. So we've created quite a few, like I've got like a couple media buyers that work for me and stuff. And like all that stuff, they're great. They're awesome. Like that kind of stuff's easy once you've done that part first. Once you've kind of created your communication angles first, the rest of that's easy. So we've just created a lot of really cool hooks and angles and communication and that interrupts. It's that thought interrupt. It's that whichever. And so that I'd say would be where most of our success comes from. And you start seeing like leads come in again at like $1.67, and you start seeing, tons of like all your ads get incredible engagement. You start seeing like, email lists growing with like more popular things. And, you go on Hotjar and you start seeing people read further down the pages and stuff. So like that to me is like where we get, that to me is like our level of success.
Now I'm going to kind of veer off of questions here a little bit, and like we can cut this if you don't want to. Like one thing that inspires me about you a little bit here is I think you do have just a really good basis on copywriting there. Like, have you always had that like background, or did you just kind of learn that over the last couple of years or so?
I'm actually not a great copywriter. I'm a really great strategist, and actually I got canned from my last job because I was a bad copywriter, like my last contract. I'm actually not a good copywriter. My skill set is in idea creation and I understand empathy and humans. So I can understand like customer journeys and I can understand like relatability. So when I create creative briefs and things like that for copywriters, I think I can set them up really well. And again, creating those big ideas and helping them. Because if you give a copywriter how to lose weight, and that's kind of like your angle, they're limited in how like they can do certain things with it. But if you give them like new ideas and concepts, I'm of the mindset like give the people that are good at their skills the things. I have a great understanding, but I always give it to copywriters to polish off because I have horrible spelling. I'm horrible. I kind of get lost in the sentence structures a little bit. I sometimes forget things. Like I feel like copywriters just have. Also, if you hear snoring in the background, my dog is just out cold.
You're fine.
Cool. I have big ideas, but copywriters they have their own skill set, and I give that to them.
Okay. Well, I think you're pretty good at it, but like, if you think there are better people, then go for it. What would you say then is your favorite marketing or I would say copywriting or business book that you've read recently there?
There's so many. I think there's some really great marketing books. And then I also think there's really great books that humans that are in marketing should read that have nothing to do with marketing, but help you with understanding humans. So I think if
there was like, if somebody just was about to hit an atomic bomb on every single library in the world today, like what's the one book they should run out of the library with before that bomb hits? Let's ask it that way. If they're thinking about marketing business in general, like
I feel like this is going to be a really unpopular answer, but I would say anything by Brene Brown. And the reason that I would say that is because she has such an incredible way of communicating and understanding human beings at like those core emotions, like shame, all those sorts of things that like, she just has this way of communicating about human beings that makes you understand empathy, courage, resilience. And these are the things, like these are the emotions that as marketers, we want to tap into. Those are the things that facts people don't move on. When you hit somebody and you make them feel hopeful, and you do that through empathy and stuff. So like, that's where I think that I get a lot of my human understanding from, is like reading books like that, that really dig deep into like the being of a human and what it means to be human. And you can use those in your marketing. Now, it's not going to teach you the great setup or hooks and things like that's not what you're going to learn. But I think that baseline of understanding human beings as a function, human beings as like, I don't know, but like emotional beings is a really powerful thing to understand as a marketer.
So Empathy by Brene Brown.
She's got a book called, my favorite of her books is called, she's got a new one called Alice of the Heart, which is good, but my favorite one is Daring Greatly.
Daring Greatly.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite podcast currently there that's business or marketing related?
No, I literally have driven so much this summer and being like, I need to find a good podcast to like listen to when I drive, and I haven't found one yet. I feel like I default to Joe Rogan. I would say though, I'm of the mindset though, like I see myself as a creator. I think we have an obsession as a culture to consume information, especially just like certain pieces of information. Information doesn't make you an incredible whatever it is you want to do. Practice does. So I sometimes don't take in more information. That sometimes for me, it's like a default. Like, well, if I learn more, then I'll be better at it. It's like, you don't need to learn anymore. You need to trust your gut. You need to just like practice. You need to mess it up. You need to fail at it. You need to pick it up. You need to revise. Like, to me, that's more valuable than like listening to more content. And then I do also, when I do listen to content, I try to expand my mind a little bit. Like, we're always listening to business and Amy Porterfield and Ruth Forleo and whomever. Mm-hmm. They're beautiful and wonderful and incredibly intelligent. But sometimes it's like, what's going on in the New York Times, or what's happening in this like channel about opera, or like, what is this like world listening to, or what do farmers care about right now? Like, depending kind of on the content or who you're creating for. So I do also try to immerse myself into like things I otherwise wouldn't.
Is there like I've had answers of like murder, like mystery podcast there. So is there like a podcast that is just kind of really resonating with you right now? Doesn't have to be business related, or?
I do like Joe Rogan, but I'm kind of not really into saying that, because there's a lot of parts of Joe Rogan I'm like, I don't agree with. So I don't, But at the same time too, like they just cover such a vast amount of topics like on one podcast. And it's just interesting. Like, I know every time I listen to it, I'm like, there's another side to the story, or I'm curious what the other person would say, but they just cover such a wide variety of topics that I think is interesting.
Okay. Same question for like informative YouTube or streaming, something that is maybe business related, but maybe not, that you kind of been paying attention to. I
would say if I'm on like YouTube and stuff like that, I actually listen to more about like CrossFit and stuff. Like CrossFit's like something I enjoy. So I think that when I like kind of take breaks, there's a new series on Netflix called Untold Stories or something, or like Untold something. I enjoy
Untold Stories. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I enjoy stuff like that. I like documentaries.
You'll have to send me the full title afterwards here, just to kind of clarify, because I think there's a couple things called Untold Stories there. Let me ask you this. What's been the most helpful resource or tool for your business in the past year or so? Digital resource or otherwise, I guess.
Pomodoro, the like timing app, where it's like I personally get easily distracted and like I've got things to do, but it's like you just segment time. So that I find inspiration in bookstores. Like, I love reading book titles or song titles. Like, I think that those things really encompass like communication. Like, they were communicating big ideas in a sense in small sentences. So I find inspiration there. Like, there's a book called Grit, which I think is one of my all-time favorite books by Angela Duckworth. And it's just this like constant reminder. Like, sometimes I'll just check into that book and it's a reminder that like talent is nothing. Like, it is nothing compared to like work ethic and just like honing in on your craft and like showing up and just doing those things. So I just like to keep things like that in my mind a lot, because I do feel like more of a creative person than a strategic person. Like, I am a media buyer and have been, and like I've kind of played all the roles in Facebook ads. I'm less into the data, more into the communication. And so, I do a lot of writing and like script stuff, and just continuing to practice. And it sucks a lot. And just that reminding, like, that's kind of how she goes. Like, no one that's made it anywhere, they had a different journey than that. So I have to stick the course.
Okay. Second to last question. So what is the most impactful piece of advice that you can give to those who are looking to either improve their marketing? I would say copywriting for you, but like, yeah, just marketing in general. Is there like one piece of advice you can?
I do think, actually, I do. And I feel like this also might be an uncommon opinion. Just because you can advertise on Facebook, Facebook makes, like, you still have to have a good business. Like, you still have to have a great product. You still have to make like a difference in someone's life in some way. Just because you've read more self-help books than maybe the next person doesn't make you a therapist that can create transformations in people's lives. Maybe it does, that's up to you, but like, do your work. Like, go do it for free. Go do it. And if you can't get people organically, don't just go to paid media. Like, hone your craft, be great at what you do. Just be exceptional at what you do, whatever it is. Like, I get that you can, there's a billion new careers now because of like the Facebook space. And I think that's beautiful, but like, be great at it. If you're, don't focus on marketing before you've actually figured out a way to create transformations or to actually uphold what you are going to promise people. So marketing is after you are great at what you do. And like, that still just needs to be the focus.
And last but not least, how can people get a hold of you or learn more about you at this?
Instagram or Facebook. I actually have never built a website for myself because I've always just been very busy. So I do need to get on that at some point, but I would just say reaching out on Instagram or Facebook would be the best way to go about it.
Okay. Oh, well, Allie Henderson of Henderson Co. Thank you so much for your time today, and I really appreciate it.
No worries.